Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Elma, and today we're going to be going through players to watch in each position in Game Week 10, as well as some differential picks for Game Week 10. It's a new style of video I'm trying to do, so let me know down in the comments what you think about it, and if you have any other video ideas you want me to do, let me know down in the comments, or you can DM me on my socials. All the links are down in the description, and we're also very close to 850 subscribers. Can we do it before the end of the month? I will have to wait and see. But if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you hit that bell. Don't miss any content going up on the channel. Not wasting any much time. Let's get straight into it. So first, we're going to start off with players to watch in defense, and the first player I've gone for is Gabriel from Arsenal. I think it's only right to go for an Arsenal defender. I think he's the best out of the Arsenal defenders. But if you're a little bit tight on budget, I'd recommend going for Calafiori, who I think is the cheapest out of all the defenders. But he's also the one with the high risk of rotation. So I think if you want cheap, you're going to have to bear with the risk of rotation. But I still think Gabriel is the best out of the four defenders that Arsenal have at the moment. They're going to be playing Burnley in game week 10. I think it's only right to bring in a Arsenal defender. Very good defensively. They don't give away a lot of chances. Like in the Crystal Palace game last in the game week 9, I think Crystal Palace only had like two chances, and they were not even full chances. They were like half chances. So they just don't give away chances, and I think Gabriel is going to perform in game week 10, and I think is a must-have as well. Then the next defender I've gone for as a player to watch in game week 10 is going to be Dan Burn. I think Newcastle have a very favorable fixture in playing West Ham, who have been very shocking defensively, shocking going forward. So I'd put my hat out to Dan Burn to be able to perform in that West Ham fixture. Maybe a clean sheet. They haven't kept a clean sheet in a while, and there's a high chance of that. And I think West Ham have conceded the most goals from set pieces as well so far in the season. And Dan Burn is a very good player when it comes to set pieces. I think I'm able to exploit that weakness from West Ham, and I'm sure he's going to be able to have a lot of points if he's able to exploit those corners. So that's another defender to watch. And let's look at the next one. And then another player to watch in defense, and the final defender is Calvin Bassey. I know it's going a little bit under the radar, so it's a little bit of a differential pick, if you'd like to call him that. But playing against Wolves, Wolves have been looking very poor going forward. Although they did score two goals against Burnley, it's at the end of the day, it's just Burnley, and they still lost that game. They scored from a penalty spot, if I'm not wrong. But I still think Fulham have a high chance of keeping a clean sheet in this fixture. They've been conceding a lot of one goals in their previous games, and against Wolves, I think they can able to keep a clean sheet. That's why I've gone for Calvin Bassey as a defender to watch out for in game week 10 as well. Then now we can look at the midfielders to watch out for in game week 10, and we have Bukayo Saka as the first one at a price of 10 million. They're going to be playing Burnley, very high expected points as well at 5.9. They're going to be playing Burnley. Burnley conceded a lot of goals. They conceded two goals to a very poor Wolves team. So imagine what Saka can be able to do, the old saying in football. But yeah, but I still think Saka is going to perform. He's on penalties and he's on corners. Arsenal score from a lot of set pieces. They haven't scored from a corner in a while, but I think they did in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. So there's still that chance of getting an assist from a corner. And just the other day, he also got points from DEFCON. So there's a high chance for Saka hauling in this match, and I genuinely do believe he's going to score a lot of points in this match. So hence he's a player to watch in midfield. And then the next player I've gone for is Anthony Gordon. I think he's a very good pick. 7.5 million, so a little bit on the cheaper side compared to the other midfielders. 4.6, they're going to be playing West Ham as well. So you can see the trend in this video, just Arsenal and Newcastle and a bit of players from other teams. So we have Anthony Gordon playing against West Ham, who have been very poor defensively. They've been leaking goals for fun. So if Gordon is able to exploit that, I think he's going to have a lot of points. If Newcastle have a good game, I think Gordon is going to be pivotal in that. And he's also on penalties for Newcastle, so that's another plus to having Gordon in your teams, and that's why he's a player to watch in midfield for game week 10 as well. And then the final player in midfield as a player to watch is Brian Mbuemo. I don't think he's a differential anymore, as many people have already jumped on the bandwagon after his two goals against Brighton. He scored in the previous game against Liverpool as well. So that's three goals from two games. So I think he's also a player to watch. I think he's also going to be pivotal in this game against Forest. Forest haven't kept a clean sheet in a very, very long time. They're conceding goals for fun as well with no Murillo, but I'm not so sure if he's back or not. They've been conceding a lot of goals. Sale is not up to his best like he was last season. So there's a high chance that Mboemo can be able to exploit that and continue his hot streak in front of goal. And I hope that he's going to be able to do that. So now let's look at the forwards to watch out for. So the players to watch out in forwards for game week 10. The first one is going to be Victor Gyökeres. First of all, I'm not a very big fan of him, but when it comes to FPL, you never know what might happen. 0 points of 5.5, a little bit expensive compared to the other players who are performing better at 9 million. But I still think he'll come good for Arsenal. But I hope he does not. But I still think he'll come good for Arsenal. The reason I've gone for him as a player to watch in game week 10 is because they're going to be playing Burnley, who are very poor defensively, as I've mentioned with Saka. Burnley did concede 2 goals to a very poor Wolves team. So what can Victor Gyökeres do? Surely, Gyökeres has to score in this game. He's been 5 blanks in a row, I think, in the Premier League, in FPL. So surely he breaks the duck and starts his goal scoring form again against Burnley. There's not much better team to start your goal scoring form against Burnley, and I'm sure he's going to be able to have a lot of points as well. And then the next forward I've gone for is Volte Mad from Newcastle. 4.6 expected points playing against a very poor West Ham. Just as I mentioned about Gordon, I think West Ham have been very poor defensively. They're very poor from corners, and Volte Mad is a very, very tall player. So he can be able to exploit corners as well, the same as Dan Burn. So I've gone for him in there, playing against West Ham. Very high chance of scoring so many goals in this fixture, and I hope he's going to be able to deliver. And then the final forward I've gone for is Jean-Philippe Mateta. Not had the best seasons this season, but he did score a hat trick, I think, 2 games ago, and just a couple of assists here and there. But they had very tough fixtures, to be honest, and they have a tight fixture list as well, with the Conference League added to the mix. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to navigate that and be able to get in some fitness and not have tired legs. I think it's going to be a problem throughout the season, but we'll just have to wait and see. So Mateta, 5.6 points playing against Brentford. Brentford have been very good, to be honest. They've been very good in all fairness. But I think that Crystal Palace will have much more quality. Not the best showing out against Arsenal, but this is the right time to the fixtures of Crystal Palace take a turn. And I think Brentford is a good game to start that. And I hope that Mateta will be able to perform in game week 10. And I'm sure he's going to be able to perform as well. Then now we can look at some of my differential picks from each of the positions. So the first differential pick I've gone for is Leandro Trossard from Arsenal, playing that midfield position. Anyway, in FPL is a midfielder at 6.9 million. I think a very reasonable price range for having a starting attacker from Arsenal. Of course, competing with Martinelli, but in the past recent games, Trossard has been favored more than Martinelli. So I hope that's still going to continue being the case. Ownership of 0.4%, playing against Burnley in game week 10. Just the same reasons as all the Arsenal players. Burnley very good, poor defensively, and I hope that Trossard can be able to start and be able to exploit that as well. So that's my first differential pick. My other differential pick is Malik Thiaw as my defender differential pick at 4.9 million. A little bit expensive compared to everyone, but I think is the cheapest in that Newcastle defense since the likes of Dan Burn, Botman, and Trippier a little bit expensive. So if you want a cheap option into that Newcastle defense, I think Thiaw is your player. Ownership of 0.4% and also playing against West Ham in game week 10. High chance of a clean sheet in that fixture and also very high chance of scoring from a set piece. That's why I've gone for him as a differential in game week 10 in that defensive position. Then my differential pick in the forward position is Danny Welbeck. He's been on form, going a little bit under the radar at 4.9%. A little bit, does it rise a little bit since the day I was looking at the players who put in the video. It was around 3.5%, but now it's at 4.9%, and that might continue pushing upwards and upwards. It's a very good price at only 6.4 million. No one expected him to be the starter this season. That's why his price dropped a little bit. Playing against Leeds at home in game week 10, as he scored 5 goals in 3 games, and next up is Leeds. High chance to continue that streak. Although Leeds have been looking very good defensively, I still think that Welbeck is going to perform, and I think he's going to be able to score And I think Welbeck is a very, very good pick, especially for his price. And that's why he's one of my differential picks for game week 10. So that's going to be the end of the video, guys. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this style of video, any changes I should make. And if you have any questions, check out my socials in the description or leave it down in the comments. And this is another long video. And if you managed to reach this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all guys later. Bye bye.